Hello my dear students, welcome to all of you in a new English session. In this session we will have poetry, and our poet today is John Melton. John Melton is considered one of the most famous poets in the history of English literature. He was born in 1608 and he died in 1674. This poem is called On His Blindness. This poem is called what? On His Blindness, and this presentation is presented by Mr. FATHY. First of all, let's begin with some important information about the poet. As I said, John Melton was born in 1608 and he died in 1674. John Melton was born in London in a fairly religious family. When he was 21, he wrote his first masterpiece. Again, when he was 21, he wrote his first masterpiece, the Ode on the Morning of the Christ's Nativity. The Ode on the Morning of the Christ's Nativity. This poem is about the birth of Jesus the Christ. Is okay? Even as a young man, Melton has a strong feeling that he had a mission in life, some work which God had chosen him to fulfill. He considered becoming a priest. It was meaning of priest. A priest, I mean here a person who is qualified to perform religious duties, but he decided against it because he didn't agree with some of the things that were happening in the church in his time. Number 3, he believed that he could, as a poet, fulfill the functions which God has created him for. He believed that poetry had a moral purpose. This is a very important point. John Melton thinks that poetry was not only for entertainment, but it had a moral purpose. So he thinks that poetry should teach men better and noble ways of living and thinking. So this is, we can describe this point as John Melton philosophy for poetry. He thinks that poetry had a moral purpose and it was not only for entertainment, and I think that poetry should teach men better and noble ways of living and thinking. Tragedy struck Melton when he, in the prime of his life, he went blind. He went blind. For any ordinary man to be blind is bad enough, and for Melton it was worse. Is okay? Believing as he did that he had been chosen by God for a special purpose, he now found himself blind. يبقى خلي بالنا عشان دي background. This is the background of the poem. إن هنا البويم جون ميلتون في حياته أصلا he became blind before he completed his half of his time. يعني before completed the 30 years, he became what? He became blind, and he thinks that believing as he did that he had been chosen by God for a special purpose, and he now found himself blind. And in this poem he laments. What's the meaning of lament? I mean by lament bewail or to feel or express great sadness. هو هنا بيرثي نفسه أو بيرثي then هو he became what? He lamented the fact that he lost his eyesight, and this disability from his point of view prevented him from performing his chosen duties. Is okay? This is the background of the poem. So this poem is about Melton and how he lost his eyesight, as we said. Is okay? What about the poem? First of all, you should know that this poem is a sonnet. Is what? Is a sonnet. So my questions in this slide: what is a sonnet? إيه هي السونت? As we said before, the sonnet is a poem in 14 lines dealing with one idea or emotion, and that idea or emotion is usually a personal one. is okay. Again, I mean by sonnet the poem in 14 lines. 14 not 13 not 15. It should be 14 lines. لازم تكون 14 lines مش أكتر من 14 أو أقل طبعا. ما ينفعش تبقى أقل أو أكتر. هي لازم تبقى 14 lines dealing with one idea. لازم تتعامل مع فكرة واحدة or emotions زي ما هتشوف النهارده في our sonnet on his blindness. بيتكلم على الايديا هنا او الايموشنز اللي هو ان how John Melton lament his lost for his eyesight is okay, and it should be what a personal one. So my question number 2 is very important. Where was the sonnet originated? يعني فين بدأت السونت? As you know, the sonnet was originated in Italy, and in its first form it was divided into 2 parts, one consisting of 8 lines, and we called the 8 lines octet, and the other of 6 lines, and we call them sestet. We have what? Octet. I mean by octet the 8 lines, the first 8 lines, and I mean by sestet the last 6 lines in the what? In the sonnet. Sure, certainly, as we know, William Shakespeare changed the internal form of the sonnet when he divided the sonnet into 4 lines, 4 lines, 4 lines, and 2 lines. Is okay? But here in his blindness, John Melton returned again to the Italian style by dividing the poem into 2 parts. The first part is 8 lines, and we call the 8 line octet, and the other 6 lines, and we call them what? Sestet. And octet, sestet, octet is a Latin word. It means يعني حاجة ثماني، وسيستت برضه كلمة لاتينية تدي معنى ثلاثي، يعني في ك6 lines يعني. دي بالنسبة ل where was the sonnet what originated. عرفنا ايه هي السونت and where was the sonnet originated. Now let's read the octets of this poem. The first we have in this slide we have the octets. We are going to read the lines, then we paraphrase them. When I consider how my life is spent. When I consider how my life is spent. Era half my days in this dark world and wide. Era half days in this dark world and light. When I consider, what's the meaning of consider here? Consider here think. يعني when I consider معناها when I think، لما بفكر how my light is spent. What's the meaning of light here? Light here he means what? The poet he means sight. هنا بنتكلم على he's talking about when he lost his eyesight. Is spent. What's the meaning of spent here? It means gone out or what? Or finished. Era half my days. Era half my days. What's the meaning of era? We mean here by era before my days. In this dark world and what? And why? So what's the meaning of these lines? Here the poet laments the fact that he has lost his eyesight before he has completed even half of his lifetime in a world which for him has now become what? Become dark. Is okay? This is line 1 and 2 in the what? In the octet. Line 3 and 4, and that one talent which is death to hide, lodged with me useless, though my soul more pent. Again, and that one talent which is death to hide, lodged with me useless, though my soul more pent. What's the meaning of talent here? Talent here he means his gift. He means here gift, and he means by gift his his eyesight. So what's the meaning of lodged, which is death to hide? He means what? He lived as if he was what? He was dead. He would like to say that when he lost his eyesight, he became like a dead man. Is okay? Lodged with my useless. What's the meaning of lodged? He means here by lodged, he would like to say that his life became useless. عايز يقول هنا ان حياته اصبحت useless. يعني what's the meaning of useless? يعني of no use، يعني ما بقتش يعني لها معنى. Though my soul more bent. What's the meaning of soul here? طبعا soul here he means spirit, and he means here by bent keens. So the meaning of this line, what he would like to say, the point here in those two lines, he would like to say that he no longer can use that one of the most important gift. طبعا مفيش شك ان eyesight this is the most important gift which God gave to the humans. Is okay? So he would like to say, the point here, that he no longer can use that one of the most important gift, and according to John Melton, losing one's sight is like dying. This is a very important point. He would like to say what? That he losing his eyesight, he's losing for his eyesight is like what? Is like dying. Is okay? Then we have number 5 and 6 in the octet. To serve there with my maker and present. To serve what? There with my maker and present. Here he means by serve here worship. يعني هنا يقصد بيه اللي هو الوقت اللي أنا يعني هو he would like to say that I lost my eyesight in a time I would like to worship my makers. And he means here by my makers, he means what? He means God. He means what? He means God. Is okay? And my true account least of returning child. What's the meaning of a child here? Child here, it means a blame or scold. It means what? Blame or scold. So here in these two lines, he would like to say, he says that he has lost the power of his eyes at a time when he was very eager to serve God. يعني هو عايز يقول لنا هنا ان انا فقدت نظري في وقت كنت نفسي اتقرب فيه لربنا او اعبد ربنا بشكل ايه اكبر. Is okay? Again, he would like to say in line 5 and 6 in the octet, he would like to say that he has lost the power of his eyes in a time or at a time when he was very eager to serve God and present a good account of himself to please him. To please what? To please him. Him here, he means what? He means God. Then we have line 7 and 8 in the octet, and they are very important lines. Is okay? Line 7, doth God exact day labor lie denied? Doth God exact day labor lie denied? I fondly ask, but patience to prevent. I fondly ask, but patience to prevent. What's the meaning of doth here? Doth here, it means does. He would like to ask God. Does, he would like to say, does God exact day labor? He means, what's the meaning of day labor here? هو يقصد ايه day labor هنا? He means by day labor work which can only be done by day. Is okay? So he asks here a questions. He give us an ideological questions. بيطرح هنا سؤال ideology. ايه هو السؤال؟ طبعا this questions is the main theme of this sonnet. هو ده السؤال الأساسي أو الثيم الأساسي هنا فين في السونيت. Doth God هل ربنا exact day labor lie denied? I fondly ask. What's the meaning of fondly here? I foolishly, he would like to say, I foolishly ask, but patience, but what? But patience prevents. But patience prevents. So, if we paraphrase the two lines, or the last two lines in the octet, here the poet would like to say that he himself, he would like to ask, عايز يسأل يعني سؤال مهم, how can God expect me, أو عايز يقول كده, how can God expect me to be able to work for him when I cannot see? How can God, هو شايف, how can God expect him to be able to work for him when he cannot see? هو شايف ان هو ازاي ربنا هيتقبل عمله في وقت هو اذا هنلاحظ حاجه مهمه جدا في الاوكتت ان the main figure in this octet is the poet. هنا بيتكلم فيها عن نفسه اكتر، عشان كده هو هنا المين فيجر، او هنا he is the main figure in the what, in this octet. Is okay. Again, when I consider how my life is spent, here I have my days in this dark world and white, and that one talent which is death to hide, lodged with me useless, though my soul more pent, to serve there with my Maker and present my true account, lest he returning child doth God exact day labor lie denied. I fondly ask, but patience to prevent. This slide we have what the paraphrase of the octet. يبقى again, this is the paraphrase. The poet lament the fact is that he lost his eyesight before he has completed even half his lifetime in a world which for him has now become dark. Is okay? He says that he no longer can use that one most important gift, and according to the poet, losing one sight is like what? Is like dying. Is okay? He says that he lost the power of his eye at a time when he was eager to serve God. When he was eager to what? To serve God. And as I said, زي ما قلت, serve here, it means worship. هنا serve معناها يعني ان هو فقد نظره في الوقت ان هو كان نفسه يعني يعبد ربنا اكتر. هو عايز يقول كده and present a good account of himself to please him. What does he means by him? He means what? He means God. Is okay? The last two lines in the octet, he tells us that he himself, how can God expect me? هو عايز يقول هنا الشعر ده اللي هو الايديولوجيكال كويشنز اللي احنا قلنا عليه هنا اللي هو 8 line. How can God expect me to be able to work for him when I cannot see? هو ده السؤال المحوري. هل ربنا هيتقبلني بعد ما فقدت نظري، بعد ما بقيتش اشوف؟ هو عايز يقول كده، دي الفكره اللي هو عايز ايه يقولها. Is okay? Let's move to the commentary, and the commentary in this poetry and this poem is very important. Why? Because we have general commentary and we have a commentary that's related to the octets and another one that related what to the system. Here we have the general commentary, and the general commentary is very important, so take care and try to memorize this point very well. On his blindness, as I said, is a sonnet. يبقى عرفنا خلاص ان البويم ديت مش بويم عادية، دي عبارة عن sonnet and it deals with a deep personal sorrow. شفنا ان هي بتتعامل مع هنا حزن شخصي. ايه هو البيرسونال sorrow هنا؟ ان جون ميلتون was very sad because he lost what? His eyesight, and they resolved an ideological questions. يعني بتطرح سؤال ideology مهم جدا. Is okay? Number 2, the sonnet returns to the Italian style of dividing the 8 lines into 8 lines octet and 6 line sestet. Again, the sonnet returns to the Italian style of dividing the 14 lines into 8 line octet and 6 line sestet. Don't forget, take care, don't forget that Shakespeare changed this internal 4 into 4 lines and 2 lines. But here, John Melton, he returned to the Italian style, 8 line octet and 6 line sestet. The rhyme scheme in this poem, as you have seen, is A, P, P, A, A, P, P, A. This is for octet. Then we have C, D, E, C, D, E, C, D, E, C, D, E for the what? For the sestet. Is okay? Again, the rhyme scheme is A, P, P, A, P, P, A. This is for octet. And we have C, D, E, C, D, E for the what? For the sestet. Here the poem is in the iambic pentameter, and this iambic pentameter is a kind of what? Of the pentameter, and the most of the poem can be found in this what? In this form or in this pentameter. The last one is the language in this sonnet is straightforward, and the idea and the language is what is straightforward. So this is the commentary for the what? For the genre. Is it right? Now, what about the commentary that related to what? The octet. The octet here deals with Melton's sorrow and anger at the loss of his eyesight. شفنا دي واضحة جدا ان هو بيتعامل هنا مع حزنه الشديد، او بيعبر في البويم ديت او في السونت عن حزنه الشديد for losing what? His eyesight. Number two, and number two is very important. It consisted of one long sentences. It consists of what? One long sentence beginning with the relative clause. When I consider how my life is spent. لاحظنا ان السونت هنا او الاوكتت بادئ بلونج سنتنس. هنلاحظ ان في الاوكتت we have long sentence, but in the sestet we have short sentence. So here the sonnet begin with the relative clause when I consider how my life is what is spent. Number three, the sentence developed through various qualifiers, modifiers, and conjunctions to arrive to the climatic arrogant questions. What is the arrogant question here? The arrogant questions here هو ده السؤال المحوري. Doth God exact day labor light denied? Doth، وقلنا doth هنا معناه ايه يا ولاد؟ يعني does God، هل ربنا exact day labor هيبقى عملي light denied when I lost my eyesight؟ هو عايز يقول كده. يبقى هنا يبقى لاحظ it developed، الفكرة اتطورت أو السنتنس هنا developed through various qualifiers, modifier و conjunctions لغاية لما نوصل للكلايماتيك arrogant questions اللي هو السؤال الايديولوجيكال هنا، اللي هو السؤال المحوري اللي بتدور حواليه كل البويم أو كل السونت، اللي هو doth God exact day labor light denied. is okay. The 8 lines are used as one sentence. هنلاحظ ان هم تقريبا زي ما يكون كده حاجة واحدة أو فكرة واحدة، one idea one sentence and it gives a grammatical unity. يعني تحس ان في وحدة مع كل الايه الoctet to the octet and supporting its unity of idea and emotion. Number 5 is very important. Take care from number 5 because here in line 8 contains both final segment of the opening sentence and the beginning of the answer to which the sestet is devoted. Again, number 5 is very important. هنلاحظ ان اخر لاين في الاوكتت هو بينهي بيه الاوكتت، نقدر نقول كده، وفي نفس الوقت بيطرح المجال في السيستت للانسر للاجابه. طبعا هو اللاين هنا اللي هو اللاين الاخير كان اللي هو doth God exact day labor light denied. I fondly ask، احنا قلنا طبعا كان 8 lines اللي هو I fondly ask but patience to prevent. يبقى the importance of line 8 it contains both final segment of the opening sentence and the beginning of the answer to which the sestet is devoted. Number 6, and number 6 also is very important one because here in the octet Melton the poet is himself the central character or the central figure and is much aware of his own importance. So here in the octet we have 8 pronouns relating to self like I, me, my. يبقى بنلاحظ ان هنا ان في الاوكتت السنترال فيجر او السنترال كاركتر here is the poet himself، هو الشاعر نفسه اللي هو جون ميلتون. So he used some important about 8 pronouns to relate to self like I, me, and what. Okay, now what about the figure of speech in the octet? In the octet we have a metaphor in the line when I consider how my life is spent. When I consider، طبعا consider هنا when I think لما بفكر how my life is spent، يعني ازاي نظري راح. يبقى هنا light is a metaphor. Why? Because the poet described light as his eyesight. The poet describes what? Describes light as what? As his eyesight. Is okay? يبقى عشان كده اعتبرناها هنا في يا ولاد metaphor. طبعا we have only one figure of speech in the what part of this sonnet. I mean here the sestet. The what? Sestet is okay. Now, what is the first line in the sestet? That murmur soon replies. That murmur soon replies, God doth not need. Again, that murmur soon replies, God doth not need either's man work or his own gifts. Who best? Again, that murmur, what's the meaning of murmur here? Murmur, complain in a low voice, اللي هو البيشنس الصبر يعني أو النداء جاله. Soon replies، يعني ايه replies؟ يعني اعطاله الانسر الإجابة. ايه هي الانسر بقى؟ هي دي الانسر. This is the answer. God doth not need either's man work، يعني ربنا مش مستني عملك، or his own gifts. Who best? Who what? Who best? يبقى here in these lines the patience give him or give the poet the answer. اداله ايه يا اولاد؟ الإجابة اللي هو طرحها. يبقى هو طرح السؤال هناك في الأوكتت، وhere in the system he had the what? He had the answer for his what? For his ideological questions. So here patience give him the answer and speaks to him and tells him that his questions is a foolish one. Why? Because God doesn't need man work. دي فعلا نقطة مهمة. يعني God هنا ما بينتظرش عمل الإنسان. طبعا زي ما احنا عارفين إن God created the man and gave him the chance to choose the good or the evil. خلاه يختار ما بين الخير والإيه والشر. ترك له الفكرة ديت as he likes، زي ما يحب. يعني هيختار الخير هيساب عليه، هيختار الشر برضه هيساب عليه. Is okay? So here that murmur soon replies, God doth not. طبعا doth هنا قلنا يعني doesn't need ايه؟ مش محتاج ايه ربنا. Either the man work or his own gift. Who best? Is okay? This is for the first and second lines in the system. Peer his mild yoke. Number 3 and 4 back. Take care because 3, 4 they are very important lines. Peer his mild yoke. They serve him best. His state is kingly thousands at his speeding speed. Again, peer his mild yoke. They serve him best. His state is kingly thousand at his speeding speed. Here in the line 3 and 4, here the poet John Melton would like to confer the greatness of God. The greatness of what? هنا بيأكد على فكرة عظمة ايه يا ولاد؟ عظمة ربنا. وهنا معنى كلمة the meaning of peer his mild yoke. حلوة الكلمة دي أوي. Peer his mild yoke. What does it mean? He means here by peer his mild yoke he means submit to his will. What's the meaning of submit؟ اللي هي فكرة الخضوع لمين يا ولاد؟ لربنا سبحانه وتعالى. يبقى هنا اهو peer، وخلي بالنا ان كلمة أصلا يوك هير يعني ايه كلمة يوك أصلا؟ كلمة جديدة شوية. طبعا يوك هير is a heel stick اللي بتيجي معناها العصاية. وهنا طبعا اللفظ ده اللي هو يوك أو مصطلح كلمة his mild yoke دي this form or this phrase is taken from the Bible. هنلاحظ ان هي متاخدة، هنتكلم عنها بعد كده، ان هي متاخدة من البايبل اللي هو كتاب الايه يا ولاد؟ المقدس. And they serve him best. They serve him. He mean what does he mean here by him? He means what? He means God. And he means here by serve worship. يعني هنا في ناس بيعبدوه أحسن. His state. He is kingly. طبعا هنا this is as I said he like to confirm أو بيحاول يأكد على the greatness of God. على عظمة إيه يا ولاد؟ ربنا. Thousand at his speeding speed. يعني thousand يعني في آلاف بإيه يا ولاد؟ طبعا speeding here يعني معناها demand تحت طلب مين؟ ربنا، أو demand أو command. إذن here he would like to say، هنا عايز يقول إيه الشاعر هنا؟ and the people who obey him and submit to his will. إن في ناس تخضع لمين؟ لربنا وإرادته. who serve him best. Why? Because he is a great king. And we have thousands of his people are active in his service all the time. يعني في آلاف بيعبدوه طوال إيه؟ طوال الوقت. Is okay? The last two lines in the system, and post or land and ocean without rest, they also serve who only stand and wait. Again, and post or land and ocean without rest, they also serve who only stand and wait. What's the meaning of or here? And post or land. طبعا or هنا معناها overland. هو عايز يقول هنا ان there are thousands of people who serve him overland and ocean without rest. What's the meaning without rest? يعني بلا كلل او بلا ملل او بلا راحة. They also serve who only stand and wait. يبقى here in this or in the last two lines, the poet would like to say that there are thousands of people who are active in his service all the time, and those people who simply stand and wait for his order. Again, and those people who simply stand كلهم في انتظار and wait for his order. Take care that from these lines we can say that God here is the main figure. In the octet, the poet John Melton was the main figure or the main character in the octet. But here we have what? We have God, and we can say that this sestet try to prove that the greatness of God. هي بتحاول هنا تأكد على فكرة عظمة مين؟ على عظمة ربنا. Is okay? Also here we have some of the meaning. We have meaning of some words like murmur, complain in a low voice, replies, answer, yep. As I said, heavy stick, mild, gentle, peer, his mild yoke. It means what? Submit to his will. State, condition, pleading, demand, command. Post here is a verb and it means speed or go quickly, or here it means what? Over. Again, I'm going to read the system again. That murmur soon replies, God doth not need either man's word or his own gifts. Who best? Peer his mild yoke, they serve him best. His estate is kingly, southern at his speeding speed, and post or land and ocean without rest, they also serve him who only stand and wait. In the next slide we have also the paraphrase again. يبقى نقراها تاني again عشان يبقى فهمناها أكتر. But patience give him the answer, as I said, and speak to him and tell him that his questions is a foolish one. Patient tells the poet that God does not need man's word, nor does need man to use the gifts which he has given him. It is the people, again, it is the people who obey him and submit to his will, who serve him best, who is a great king. Thousands of his people are active in his service in all times, and the people who simply stand and wait for his order. Again, the people who simply stand and wait for his what? For his order. This is the paraphrase of the system. Now let's go to the commentary of the system. As I said, the commentary is very important, so try to study them very hard. Try to study them very well, because they are the commentary here in this poem or in this sonnet is very important. Here in the last 6 lines, Melton uses short sentences to show the greatness and wisdom of God and support the blind acceptance of his will. يبقى compare, لو قارنا, if we compare here between the sestet and the octet, we found that in the octet we have long sentences, but here we have what? Short sentences to show what? The greatness and the wisdom of God. عظمة هنا بيحاول هنا يبرز أو he tries to portray the greatness and the wisdom of what? Of God, and support again, and support blind acceptance of His will. Okay. Number two is very important point. Why? Because here in the system, God became the central figure or the central character. So there are 6 nouns and pronouns relating to God. عشان كده استخدم حاجات بتشير دايما. لاحظنا ان هو استخدم كتير من الضمائر اللي هي هنا he refers to what? To God, like him, like his. He means here by him and his, he means what? He means God. Is okay? So this point is very important. The assisted, God became the central figure. Number 3, Melton here sees himself as only a tiny part of God's universe. Again, Melton sees himself as only a tiny part of God's universe. يعني هو لا شيء في هذا الكون الايه الكثير. هو عايز يقول كده جون ميلتون. Number 4, the language in the system is highly biblical in its use of phrase like his gift, his mild yoke, his status kingly. طبعا دي نقطة مهمة جدا جدا جدا. يعني ايه؟ لازم نقف عندها شوية. اللانجوج here in the system is highly biblical. يعني ايه highly biblical؟ هنلاحظ ان هو متأثر جدا بالبايبل. بايبل here اللي هو الكتاب المقدس. وعشان نبقى فاهمين بس البايبل, we have 2 parts in the Bible. We have Old Testament and New Testament. We have what? Old Testament and New Testament. The Old Testament اللي هو التوراة ببساطة يعني. اللي هو the holy book for the what? For the Jew or Jewish people. Okay? But here I mean by the New Testament the holy book for the Christian, اللي هو الكتاب اللي هو الإنجيل يعني الخاص بالمسيحيين. واضح؟ يبقى البايبل عندي حاجتين, في Old Testament و New Testament. عموما دي مش قصتنا أو دي النهارده, بس احنا عايزين نقول هنا إن the poet use the language from the Bible. استخدم كلمات من البايبل. زي إيه يا ولاد؟ like his gift, عطاياه, كلمة طبعا واضحة جدا من البايبل. his mild yoke and his status kingly. يبقى all these words are taken from or are quoted from what? The Bible. Is okay? What about the figure of speech in the system? We have here personification in the lines that murmur soon replies. What is the personification exactly? فين الكلمة هنا اللي بتدي معنى personification؟ أكيد هي كلمة replies. طبعا البيشنت مش هيرد, يعني it's impossible for patient to reply like a human. So here we have what? We have a personification. So the poet here in this line personifies the patient as a person replying. Again, the poet personifies the patient as a person replying. This is the only figure in the what? In the system. Here we have a very important questions. في سؤال مهم جدا دايما نشوفه. These questions we have these questions in the exams. What is the importance of line 8? As we said, زي ما قلنا هنأكد تاني, it contains both final segment of the opening sentence and the beginning of the answer to which the system devoted. Is okay? We have both final segment of the opening sentence and the beginning of the answer to which the system is devoted. This is for the figure of speech in the what? In the system. Finally, I would like to thank you, and until we meet again, goodbye.